It is Thursday, the 9th of May, 2024. I'm Pigeon Rose, and this is my song of the day. Hello, everyone, and welcome to Pigeon's Song of the Day. Today we're going to be talking about another band who I love dearly. I know I say that about every band I talk about on here, but this band was quite possibly my first favorite band, the first band I was ever really obsessed with, and that is of course Gorillaz. The song we're talking about is On Melancholy Hill from their third album, Plastic Beach. You know, I liked music when I was a kid. I had a few songs that I was really into, which I think says a lot about me as a person. The specific, it was Smooth by Santana featuring Rob Thomas. It's My Life by Bon Jovi. I did like Linkin Park a lot. I listened to Hybrid Theories. That was one album I listened to a lot. What was the other thing? Oh, I loved Chihuahua by DJ Bobo. But me and my family went on holidays, and when we were on holidays, the place we were staying had MTV, which we did not have at home. So I was seeing MTV for the first time ever, and it was 2005, so Demon Days had just come out, and they kept showing Feel Good Inc., Dare, and Clint Eastwood over and over again. They also were showing a lot of You're Beautiful by James Blunt and Bad Day by Daniel Powter, so that really places it in a time. But anyway, I became obsessed with these songs, and I went home and I bought Demon Days, and that was the first album I ever bought. So I've been a big fan of them ever since. Plastic Beach was their next album after Demon Days. I don't own every Gorillaz album on CD. I own a lot of them. I think every main album except for The Fall. Oh, I don't own Cracker Island on everything yet. I need to. Or Song Machine for that matter. So the song we're talking about is On Melancholy Hill, like I said. This is one of their pretty successful ones. People tend to know this. It's been in a few things, and it's played on the radio, and just generally it's a well-regarded mainstream single. Personally, I would say it's one of Gorillaz' best songs ever. I mean, Plastic Beach has some real standout tracks. So we're going to listen to it now and then come back and talk about it. So there it is, On Melancholy Hill. What a lovely song. Lovely in the sense of how it sounds, not necessarily lovely in the lyrics, but it is lovely in the lyrics as well. I'm going to give some background before we get into it, of course. So if you don't know who Gorillaz are, where have you been for the last 24 years? Gorillaz are a band that sprung out of the collaboration between Damon Albarn, the lead singer from Blur, and Jamie Hewlett, who's a cartoonist, comic artist. He is probably most famous for Tank Girl. Well, he's probably most famous for Gorillaz at this point, but Tank Girl will be his most famous outside of Gorillaz work, probably. And the whole idea is that Damon Albarn writes the music in heavy collaboration with other artists. Collaboration has always been a big part of Gorillaz' sound. And Jamie Hewlett has these characters who represent the band members. So you've got 2D on vocals, Murdoch Nichols on bass guitar, you've got Noodle on guitar, and you've got Russell Hobbs on drums. The music video for this song continues the long storyline of the band. It's weird, it's convoluted, it doesn't really make any sense. But it's a fun thing to have in the music videos. This one specifically follows directly on from the video for Stylo. So one of the other bands that Damon Albarn is in is called The Good, the Bad, and the Queen. And this song was originally actually written for The Good, the Bad, and the Queen's first album, but it ended up on this instead. And I think that's interesting because Plastic Beach as an album has kind of a theme of consumerism and kind of the ways, excess. And I mean, they often have environmentalist messages in their music, but just that kind of idea. And this song doesn't have that as much. I was on Genius and stuff looking at people's interpretations of this song, and some people interpret it that way, but it really feels like they're forcing it because of the wider context of the album. But it wasn't even written for this album in the first place, so it makes sense that it doesn't fit into the theme as much. One of the reasons that people think it's on this theme of consumerism is because the first line is, Up on Melancholy Hill there's a plastic tree, which could be seen as a reference to Fake Plastic Trees by Radiohead, which is about consumerism, but even so. The lyrics themselves, they read as a relatively simple love song from someone who's saying to someone else, you could do better, but I'm here. You can't get what you want, but you can get me. So let's set out to see love. It's kind of a sweet, it's self-deprecating, right? It's I'm not the best there is in the world. There's plenty of other fish in the sea, but you caught me, might as well make the best of it. Depending on how you view that tonally, that can either be a very sweet thing or a very sad thing. I even saw someone on Reddit say it was narcissistic abuse, which is taking it a bit far. But yeah, just those lyrics. Up on Melancholy Hill, there's a plastic tree. Are you here with me, just looking out on the day of another dream, where you can't get what you want, but you can get me. So let's set out to see love, because you are my medicine when you're close to me. That line, when you are my medicine when you're close to me, it really tells you the whole thing. It's just, you are my rock. I don't like being alone. I don't like being on Melancholy Hill. I like being with you. The second verse, so call in the submarines, round the world we'll go. Does anybody know here if we're looking out on the day of another dream? If you can't get what you want, then you come with me. Up on Melancholy Hill sits the manatee, love. Just looking out for the day when you're close to me, when you're close to me, when you're close to me. Now, I saw a few people reference the manatee as a reference to the phrase the elephant in the room. Like, they're referencing the manatee on the hill as if to say they're addressing the elephant in the room. That's our love up there and we have to talk about it. I don't really know entirely, but I think the lyrics make sense to me as this sort of idea of you could do better, but you could do a hell of a lot worse, basically. I think the title is very fitting. I don't know where the phrase on Melancholy Hill came from, but the music itself feels very melancholy. Like, it has this sort of upbeat pop feel, but it also doesn't, because of the kind of etherealness of it and the church bell at the end. It has a bit of foreboding as well, and I think melancholy is the perfect word for it, because it's kind of dreamy and relaxing, but also there's just some little bit of tension there, you know. So I think the title is really fitting. There are some people who also read the lyrics as being about drugs. Everyone wants every song to be about drugs, but this is actually a meme on the Gorillaz subreddit. There's a guy who interprets every song as saying it's about drugs, obviously. But I mean, I get what you're saying, especially with the line about medicine, but like, any love song could be seen as a metaphor for drugs, because that's what addiction is like. It's reliance on things, you know. But I think in this case, I think it's just a pretty simple, straight up and down love song with a really lovely, sweet, melancholic instrumental. And Albarn's vocals as 2D, as always, are very nice and subtle, not overblown. It's not, I ain't happy, I'm feeling bad. It's just very, you know, up on Melancholy Hill. It just feels very light, very melancholy. I mean, it just keeps coming back to that word, but that's I mean, intentional. I also want to note the music video, apart from telling the ongoing story, is also notable because it has cartoon representations of other collaborators from the album. This song isn't one with collaborators, really, but the music video has the characters in submarines, which is referenced, of course, in the lyrics, and you see little, like, cartoons of Lou Reed, De La Soul, Snoop Dogg, Mick Jones, Paul Simonon, I don't know how to pronounce his name, Too Many DJs, and Gruff Reese, which I enjoy, just kind of to say these are all on the album. Also, there's a swarm of super fast jellyfish, which is from a different song that featured De La Soul, which is why the jellyfish gets sucked into De La Soul's, like, rotor on their submarine. And then the music video ends with the reveal of the strange thing in the body of water that is the album cover of Plastic Beach. I mean, there's not much to say about this except that it's just a really good song. I mean, it was also in Life is Strange too, which is nice. But yeah, no, I really, really love this song. It's so good. It's so good to relax to. It's got great lyrics, great music video. I really like it. That's going to be it for this week. This is going to be the shortest episode of this whole fucking show. That's basically it for this, for today. Thank you for listening, and I'll talk to you tomorrow.
Break it down.
Plastic Beach was their next album after Demon Days.